Hey guys, here we go with a new scent to me. Alighieri is how I'm going to pronounce it, is my best guess. It is Stirling's seasonal that was released in the winter late in 2020. And it's one of their 3 ounce tubs, which is what they usually do their seasonals in. And it's a clone or inspired by Fahrenheit, which is a popular cologne, at least a while back it was. I know that some of the perfumers and stuff have released, dupes of it. And so it's not surprising that Sterling has as well. We're going to keep with the Israeli red. I believe this might be use number 10. And I can't remember if I tried it in the Fatip. I believe I probably tried it in the open comb, but here is the Testina Gentile, the closed comb, very smooth razor, usually, for me. And this is my Shave Nook. Limited edition. You can see, hopefully, the tortoise coloring on it, and it's, there are 100 made, and so I managed to get one of them. They did have a badger associated with this release as well, but it seemed by the readouts and the research I was able to do that it would be too stiff for my preferences. Get this back in the water. This has been a little odd, this brush, as it's been in its early days. Most of my other Semogues are generally will relax a little quicker and be softer and easier to use and more comfortable on the face, less prickly, that sort of thing. Within just a couple of uses, and this one is taking just a little bit longer. In a way, I'm not surprised because it is a denser brush and it's got more bristles in there, and I am getting a little bit better shaves as I give it a nice long soak. 45 minutes to an hour, I believe, is what we have done today. Let's go ahead and put the blade in the razor. So Personna, what does it say? Platinum chrome is what the blade says. These are made in Israel, and our little kind of nickname for these is the Israeli red. And this is the fatter of the two handles. It is hollow, and so to keep it from being too heavy, they made it hollow because it is thicker. It does give the razor a lot more weight in the head. You have to, the center of mass is a little different for this one. The piccolo handle gives the razor a heavier feel to it for some reason, and it definitely seems more balanced with that, but it's thinner. But it's a solid handle, and at least it's all brass, and so this is a great lifetime quality razor. Plating is going to be chrome or nickel or whatever you choose, but the inside is going to be brass. You do have to check the alignment of the blade, though, and okay, I need to adjust it just a hair today. About half the time I don't need to adjust it at all. Some people have some tricks to it. This one's taking a little bit longer than usual, because when you get one end lined up, the other one kind of unaligns. All right, there we go. But I don't think that's too bad, especially for the smoothness, the price. I mean, for the price, these things are $28 usually or less. Especially, and you can also get them on the used market for even less, and they're just great little shavers. And some people don't have any alignment issues with them at all. The way they just slap the blade in and go, and so you never know what you're going to end up with. All right. Sterling sent this soap along. I haven't touched it yet, and it has quite the raised plateau of soap. And so for the brush to work properly, I'm going to press that and kind of make everything flat. I could scoop it, but I feel pretty confident that I want to keep this guy around. I like its smell from the puck here. It smells like it's going to be fun to enjoyable to use. I may kick myself for not getting the splash. Now, they did not sell out of this, at least maybe a week or two ago. And so who knows, it might still be available. Let me get my face wet and yeah, we'll be ready to load up. Whew, we are in the winter and it is cold water. I do have hard water here. I'm going to shake out a lot of the water. Early now in its uses, the bloom, as you can see, is not very open. It doesn't hold a whole lot of water at this point. All right, now that we've got a flattened out puck, let's do our 30-second load and see. We'll start at the 10 mark, so we'll go to 40. It will probably give us more lather than we need, but that's okay. Usually Stirling 15 or 20 seconds is all I need to load for. But since this is a young boar, they often need a little help in the beginning. A little extra lather, a little extra forgiveness. They don't feel quite as good, but it's a really neat journey to use a boar brush. Now, a big question in the shaving world that a lot of new guys ask, and they should: what do you do with your soap? You can cap it up right away. Some guys do that. It's wet inside. Oh, no mold. Well, it's soap. It's antibacterial, anti-mold by nature. It can mold. There are a few instances, but in many cases, those are often linked to a bad mix from the manufacturer. What I do is I leave it open during the shave, and that lets a little bit of the water evaporate. Some people go far, and they will leave it open for 24 hours, and then when they do their next shave, they'll seal it up and put it away. And of course, if you're going to use the same soap over and over, then I guess they could just leave it open all the time. But that's going to cause it to lose its scent a lot quicker, and that's why I have a shaving soap. And I'm sure I've gotten soaps in the used market that have had such little scent, and I bet it's because guys did that. So since scent is so important to me, I've chosen to let it breathe only while I shave, and then I cap it up and put it away, and I've never had any problems. I can feel the backbone of the brush. It's going to gradually open up with more uses and more uses. Tips are going to split, become even softer. That's the journey that you go on when you have a brush. Now this one's kind of special, but we have plenty of boars out there that are terrific and pretty cheap as well. And so I think it's a great beginner's brush in that regard. Synthetics are great beginner brushes because they pick up lather really quick. There's no break-in period at all. They rinse easily. They're good travel brushes because the mold and mildew and moisture in the core of the brush is not as important to wash out as it is with natural hair brushes. But I think that a boar brush can be a really great start to a person and their shaving journey. There are Omega brushes, Zeniths, Semogues that cost $15 or less. And they're all boar brushes, and they will start out little bit rough, a little bit frustrating. But with most of my Semogues, it just took between 5 and 15 days before they were ready to go, enjoyable. And then what happens is at that point they are good, they feel good on the face, they hold enough lather to do the job, but then they get even better with each use till you get to like 200 or 300 uses, and then they start to flatten out. And that's because the tips are gradually splitting. I've even seen one brush that had the tip split 5 different ways. The bristles on the outside will split first, usually. I don't do any of the accelerator shortcuts. Boy, you can tell I loaded a ton of soap. The shortcuts, people have watched a video from an Italian barber who likes to break his in by soaking them. And the translation of what he said, he just meant tap water. But the translation was cool water. So people have been starting to put their brushes in water and put them in the refrigerator for 3 days and take them out every once in a while and work them over with a towel, and then they like what they see at the end of the 3 days. My approach is one where I want to be as kind to that splitting as possible. I want the tips to split in a natural way. 4 teaspoons now of water. Stirling is a thirsty soap, so I don't have any problem giving it that much water. I want it to split, my boars to split naturally. If I had one, I do have an Omega and a Stirling that have been used about 24 times, and they are still in need of a good softening. Now, if I get to 100 times with those brushes and they still feel that way, I would be tempted to start trying some craziness. But to be honest, I would really just stick with the other brushes, stick with my other Semogues, and I have one Omega that has softened up. Stick with the Zeniths. The scent is really nice. It's coming up to me as I'm working here. We're looking good. Let's take a look at our elasticity here by kind of pulling about half of it up and then watching what the stretch does. That's looking pretty good. Why don't we try that? All right. Hopefully the nice long soak of about an hour. That is the limitation. That's what I choose to do. Some people, they don't even do any kind of long soak. They just use the brush. And if you're the kind of person who's able to put a lot of uses into it right away, then I think that's a great way to go. But I've got a big rotation of brushes, even just boars. And the boars that I'm trying to use a lot, there's 12 or 13 in that rotation. And so I have decided to accelerate it just a little bit with a nice long soak in the beginning of each shave. All right, so that was 4 teaspoons of water. Let's just see what happens. Get my face wet, go at it. This is a winter night, and this might be the time where I might start experimenting with a warm lather. So the splay on the boar brush is something that will change as well. As it breaks in, more and more of the bristles will kind of open up. Giving space between the bristles will provide room to hold lather. And it also gives easier backbone. Right now I am feeling all of that adds density. I'm feeling it as kind of a stiff backbone. It's giving me a scrubbing feeling, but I'm not really experiencing very much prickle, and that's good. And with young brushes like this, it's really nice to have a bowl handy, because often you have to go back in and dip for more lather. First boar I ever had was a Semogue 830, and it's a wonderful little brush, but at the time I didn't even know about the boar break-in. I didn't know that was such a thing, and so I was just so discouraged when it didn't work very well. I basically had to go back to the puck before each pass to gather up some soap. All right. Very good. Yeah, the scent is nice. We're talking maybe 4 or 5 in terms of scent strength. Lather looks good. Looks a good consistency. Properly hydrated. All right. Didn't take a shower before the shave, so the first pass does a double duty as a cleaner, a degreaser as well. All right, Fatip, let's see what you do with the Israeli red. Closed comb, Fatip. Ooh, that's very nice so far. Moving easily through the hair. No tugging, and I might say this is a 2-day shave. Very nice. Very. I feel the cutting. I feel the sensation of the hairs being cut, but no tugging at all. Nothing that would cause irritation or any hint of annoyance or pain. Nothing like that. Holding the razor loosely, and if you do that, it really doesn't matter where you hold it. When I do my opposite side, I'm often holding it just by the bottom part, and there's freedom for the razor to move. And that's brought me good success with my technique. Rinse. Yeah, I nailed that lather consistency. This is perfect. Nice, luxurious, creamy rinses, but smooth, slick movement with the razor. Well hydrated, doesn't feel pasty at all. So this is the way I prefer to have my lathers. Now, there are plenty of guys out there, especially the face latherers that don't use a bowl. It's much easier to shave using dry lather, because you don't have to take the time to keep adding water to it when you're face lathering. And if you like it as slick as I do, as creamy as I do, then a lot of times with the face lathering, it will fly off when it gets to be the right temperature, the right wetness, the right slickness. And that's so frustrating. So a lot of the face latherers like it drier, probably out of necessity. And this is a comfortable razor with so many different blades. But then the surprising thing is, at the end of the shave, you end up usually still with a very good cut, a very close cut, while also being comfortable. And that is such a tricky line to walk. Very few razors are this comfortable and shave this closely. And to do it for such a low price is crazy, and to have it be lifetime quality brass craftsmanship is just insane. The only downfall, and the reason why they probably haven't just taken the shaving world by storm, is that a lot of people don't want to take the time, like you saw me do, line up that blade, which I have to do maybe that level. I have to do maybe 1 out of every 20 times. About half the time, I don't even have to adjust anything. But some people don't like it. Now, I am still enjoying that scent as I'm going through the shave. It's really nice. I could definitely see. And it's just a cologne-based type. I'm not skilled enough with these kind of notes to tell you. You're definitely better off finding somebody online to talk about this one than me. I don't classify it as feminine. And it does kind of have that like 90s cologne vibe to it. Big win. And so now I'm going to switch directions on this. Chin up and away. I'm not going to stretch super tight. I'm not going to stretch my skin super tight. I'm just going to do a little bit. If you stretch your skin too much, you can get ingrowns. And there we go. I think we've gotten a great shave. As always, focusing on gradual reduction instead of trying to get everything the first shot. Now, that's the thing though, shaving's relative. There are almost no absolutes in shaving. If you want to gradually reduce, if you want to do 5 passes, you could do that if you wanted, if you just felt like it. If you just wanted to try to do 1 pass and just really go over the areas a lot to try to get that in 1 pass, that could be right for you. You really could. So we found another razor that handles this Israeli red very, very well. Maybe this razor, the conclusion I'm drawing after about 10 different razors in using this blade, I think I'm finding that it's just kind of a touchy blade. It either does really well or it doesn't. Either it shaves well and somewhat comfortably, or it tugs and pulls and irritates your face a little bit. I've never had a big disaster with it. Still definitely more razors to try, but I think I'm finding enough razors, several of the ones that I really enjoy, treat it very well, handle it well. The Fat Boy I know, I think the Carve, Christopher Bradley, now this guy, the Gillette Tech, was excellent with it. Pretty cool. So another win for the Israeli red. Fatip closed comb, great combination there. And this is something I like to do with a feather, for instance, as well, where it's a very sharp blade, but sometimes can be a little tricky on some razors. I put it in a mild razor, and often those types of blades will really excel. And this is maybe the 10th shave with this blade, and that we're coming against another myth that only 3 to 5 uses is all you can get out of a blade. And I'm getting a terrific, comfortable shave, and we're at 10 uses, and it's definitely going to go further. Now this cologne is kind of a mild scent. I could definitely not have a problem going to sleep right now. I'm a late night shaver. It's not going to interfere with anything. And let's just see how it blends with a balm that I'm trying to use up. The Sharp Dressed Man from Stirling. And this is a clone of the Green Irish Tweed. So we're kind of mixing clones here. See how they blend. Even if I don't like it, I am about to go to sleep anyway. Winter time, the balm is nice to help prevent dry skin, things like that. All right, very good. And then we can take the soap, and then we've got the balm here. Yeah, I can smell a few different ingredients. I think sometimes whatever smell is on your balm hand, then that will affect your soap that you used, and kind of turn some of the scents down, and so that you smell other parts of the a cord that is used. Sometimes I find it very interesting. Yeah, so that, I think that the two, Sharp Dressed Man and Fahrenheit, or let me compare apples to apples, Sharp Dressed Man and Alighieri, pair pretty well together, enjoyable. And here is what this brush is looking like after a good towel stropping. It is gradually opening up. It still gave me a big feel of a lot of these center bristles during the shave. I was really feeling that scrubbing motion and not a whole lot of softness. And here we have a breakage. That's just fine. It's a new brush and that's normal. Doesn't bother me at all. We still have plenty of backbone here, but that's going to release. We do have some split tips. I don't know if you're able to see them. We definitely have some splits around, but not a ton. But that's okay. We'll just give it time, give it uses. And I think with all of this is the premium grade bristle from Semogue. Semogue has some different grades. Omega doesn't really, and Zenith doesn't really. They keep kind of the same grade of hair. Semogue has different ones, and this is one of their better grades. So in terms of if you like softness and that sort of thing, splayability, and so those two things are going to get better and better as this guy ages, and so it might take him a while to get there because of all this density, but I think he will. And I think when he does arrive, I am going to really enjoy this brush. And I'm glad that I ended up doing the 30-second load, because this brush needs a little bit extra lather as it's breaking in. With the 30 seconds, I used 4 teaspoons of water, and that was perfect. Exactly where I like it. A creamy feel, luxurious rinses, but a very slick, quick moving razor, good protection to the face. I don't have any irritation or anything like that. So, very good. Really happy with that one. And so I got the lather worked as its purpose is to protect the skin. All right. Almost ready to close her down. I went ahead and pitched that balm after today's use. It's an older label, and so I must assume it's at least a few years old, maybe more. I got it used anyway, maybe 3 years ago, and I have used it, I don't know, 60 times, something like that. It's a nice scent. I do like it, but I believe it was starting to go. I had noticed the last couple times I used it that I was actually feeling a little itchiness pop up in certain spaces, and I think something chemically was starting to go with that balm, because just the last shave I used the same Stirling balm, just a newer version of it, a younger, fresher bottle, and it never gives anything like that. It's just a wonderful balm, and so I think that's maybe the signal that it's time to pitch that balm. And so I'm really happy that I got a lot of uses out of it, and I've got other balms to use and other aftershave splashes to enjoy now. I'm actually really enjoying the juxtaposition of the Sharp Dressed Man scent with the Fahrenheit. The Sharp Dressed Man has some pungency to it, some zestiness to it, but Fahrenheit has some warmth. I'm noticing the warmth notes of the Fahrenheit now that it's being held against the Sharp Dressed Man. I think they make a really neat blend. I think they're opposite in some ways, and they're working very well together. And when opposites work well together, often it's a very interesting and a beautiful thing. And that is today's shave. I sure hope that there's been something in this video to help you guys out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Everything went really well. I enjoyed it. And so this is a good one. You take care. Have a good night.